This is a free game for KT. They figured it out, boys. If they're not going to first pick it on blue side, you got to ban it. Unfortunately, now they're going to potentially, and this Sejuani first pick again. This is the code, the KT code, guys. The KT code is do not let them have this. Do not let them have this, and do not let them have Jax. Woo!
And I kind of like the option. And this means that, like you were saying, if we go down,
and they're just going to take the Renekton instead, okay?
It definitely favors.
So they're not going to have any of these picks.
You're like next to Keria, of course. We're like, oh, mind Wukong and
Azir taking away. This is Live Sandbox just taking away all of KT's picks. It's not like Closer's best champion is Azir. He's better on melee mids mostly. And okay, Talia, perfect PDD champion.
Leona, you know,
Helios is going to be banned. All the ADCs I have banned.
That's kind of terrifying, man. It really is. And this is how we.
Okay, so now we have Draven banned and Ezreal banned. What the fuck are they going to play? 1, 2... Literally, KT banned 5 ADCs, and they banned 3. There's 8 AD carries banned in this game.
A ways away. I think you just take Zeri. You're like, okay, so you can't play any of the AD carries are banned in the first phase.
This is perfect, actually.
Draven, and we have picked.
Where are you going to pick Lulu now? Jinx Lulu?
Actually, the Tom Kench gets locked in. Lehens is like talking really fast.
It's actually smart. I actually like this. So Aiming plays Zeri, which he's known for. You know they probably want to go Zeri Lulu. Jinx, Tom Kench is extremely safe into that.
Yes, I don't think he is necessarily that interested. He does fun stuff for the 2v2, but what this Lulu is going to do for the comp is just,
I'm into it.
It's too strong.
I like this draft a lot better from Live Sandbox.
Like, in the early game, yeah, Jinx is going to outrange Zeri, but it's double ranged into Tom Kench. Like, you're having a pretty good time. I think that Live Sandbox is still going to need to play around this bottom lane and really help Envy be able to play this stuff.
To get the setup for an instant deletion of Envy. This time around, we have on top of, while she's scared to.
Boxes have been able early game. Live Sandbox.
Yeah.
Like, everything about it is so old school. I mean, even the top laner. It's Bertle. He was there.
No facial hair? Oh my god.
Oh man.
I'll try and draw it again. Hold on.
It's a bit of a blast to the past.
I have to figure out where I am.
It was ruler in life in the bottom lane.
Yeah. If you put the Renekton instead of the Narnia 2, you're like, wow.
It's kind of hard, guys.
Yeah.
Really the Genji comp.
It is. Or if you like, you could just go back a little bit further and then the Gnar makes a whole lot of sense. Of course, you know, there's a certain skin for a certain guy called Cuvee that was pretty good at the champion. It's just weird. The more things change, the more they stay exactly the same.
They really do.
Also, like, the Tom Kench is like such a life pick as well. Oh, man. Okay, so I'm just going to have to remind myself over and over again that this is Live Sandbox, you know, the cool kids that never panic, that often pick a lot of early game priority. But they're playing what is going to be a very stable composition moving into the later stages of the game. See whether they can get there unscathed is sort of my thinking.
Yeah, we do have the unsealed spellbook here for BDD. Well, actually, it's level 2 first, and it's going to be very annoying. He's actually only played 2 games of this Talia this season, which is surprising considering his history on the champion.
Yeah.
He's 1-1, and, you know, in this matchup, you're going to have a lot of power as the Azir obviously can play it out well and avoid those shoves. But in these mid-game fights, KT are so powerful, and it's kind of in one way disjointed from what the Zeri is trying to do in this comp, but in another way, if you just force fights nonstop and Aiming gets ahead faster because you actually set up a good fight for him, he gets that Zeri moment.
Yeah, Live Sandbox definitely has the better kind of late game traditional front to back. But if they just smash lane here, it's fine. They should have a lot more agency early on, especially post Wukong and Talia sit level 6.
Allow them to push this lane through.
Yep. Kyle's going to take a little bit of time, and yeah, it's going to be interesting how this game actually functions later on, right? Because I think KT do have enough engage to try and get on top of Envy here, but it's the Kyle factor that is a bit of a problem, right? Like, if you use the Cyclone and then the Devour comes out, like, what is the follow-up after that, right?
Yeah.
Like, you need to make sure that Cuz can hit the next one, can actually reposition in order to get over there, and can BDD find some of these shoves that he's going to need to if KT want to retain control, because This is going to be extremely volatile with whether we have a Zeri moment or a Jinx moment.
Yeah, so true. And, you know, setting up for some early game plays here for Cuz, a lot tougher to do this time around. Although in the isolated 1v1, he's ready to fight.
Yeah, Closer is 2 though, as Warrior Trickster comes through. Cuz may have to flash, and he does.
Really weird here that BDD and Cuz are not on the same page of this one. Like, BDD has no mana.
BDD has no mana. They have bot priority. Kyle was actually roaming up. Yeah, they really didn't have any business being there.
Unfortunately, but you know, going back to that counter jungling discussion we had about Cuz being way more aggressive than Willer on the enemy side, he's just always aggressive. He's always looking for plays like this. And he's going to take that loss of his flash and then instantly go get some deep vision up here for Keen. He just spends his time in the enemy jungle trying to get advantage. Sometimes it backfires.
Yep. Seismic Shock going to push Closer through some rocks. BDD just benefiting from the fact that he teleported back first, so trying to push Closer out just a little bit. Closer very happy with the situation in the lane though, given the fact that he does have sort of the back priority as Meganar comes in, and Keen's going to slice and dice him. Bertle should be all right. This has been one of the picks that Bertle has had some worrying times on, and would be a great redemption game for him if he can have a really good performance on this now. Currently getting shoved in by the Crocodile.
Yeah, just going to be forced to teleport.
All right, well, there's the heal. Envy going to get slowed down, has to flash immediately, of course.
BDD missing,
no Devour yet.
And they know it, so they really need to back away. No Devour, as you mentioned, and they're actually going to try to stop these backs here.
Yeah, Kyle actually Abyssal dive to try and get on top of Lehens, who's just being frustrating.
This wave is in a terrible spot for Envy here if he's going to stay, and feels really annoying to play against this.
Oh man, is that actually pushing back to... Oh
yeah,
no. This is a disaster.
It's really bad. This was really well played by Lehens and aiming. Lehens has had such great play here in these 2v2s about interrupting backs, looking for aggressive trades. Just regardless of what he's playing.
Get a free back
and
as
Lehens
well for the Lulu.
Like a person who, or a player rather, who had a wealth of champion pool, and then you were like, and then he empowers ruler. That's kind of his identity in recent times. But you think back to the Viper days, you think back to what he's been able to accomplish across so many different metas, and his game sense, his experience is just really shining through this season.
Yeah. Well, Live Sandbox
they're going to try and translate this because they were forced to stay here into an early Drake. Just smart adaptation, I think, for Live Sandbox.
Should go over to them unless Weaver's Wall is going to deliver.
Ooh, can they get the
into the situation. Aiming can also glide his way through as well as the flash comes down. The polymorph does come in, but now they're looking to try and get themselves some kills. The frog got stuck in my throat. It's currently on the rift, so it does make some sense. Frog's kind of around. And KT, they sort of missed their window for trying to contest there.
Yeah, that's a nice play, I think, by Live Sandbox. Sneaky little
there, but no
Drake attempt. Good adaptation to the scenario where they didn't get to back.
Good to be reminded that Polymorph is a projectile.
Yeah.
Because it took a long time for Closer to transform.
Good escape from him. And unfortunately, Lehens will not be rewarded. Man, BDD is forcing the issue so well in this lane so far, and he's just stacking tier.
Yeah, over and over again.
Why did Lehens choose to base that allowed LSB to break the freeze? Because I don't think they wanted to freeze forever. I think that they wanted to use that opportunity to allow aiming to continue farming while getting a base so they could push out and do Drake. And Live Sandbox kind of called their bluff.
Do stuff like this, like zone Bird all out because he still has Weaver's Wall.
Yeah, and I remember there was another game that I think you and I casted this week.
Yeah.
That had a Crocodile doing a similar thing to this.
Yeah.
Where we like look around the rest of the map and
LCK's on 13.4.
And then it's like a Crocodile taking a million plates. That seems to be what's happening right now. As Closer is going to be tickled by rocks a little bit more.
BD is just like, I'm going to use my ult no matter what here. I'm either going to kill Anar, who's zoned out of experience, or I'm going to force Closer to flash. He does not, unfortunately, get Closer's flash. There is very close. But Closer is able to avoid this. Good move from Lehens to come up to the mid lane and hold that wave, so BDD could aggressively be topside without any loss of farm. So he played that out. He's going to now delete some of the minions here away from Closer. And aiming is holding his own down here. You know, slight advantage in gold here, but he's really just kind of becoming, he's like, I'm just sitting here and being Zeri. Like, I will become important later.
Yeah.
We haven't had that team fight yet where I can pop off.
Still in the cocoon. you know, hasn't become a beautiful butterfly just yet.
He also went Dematerializer, which was really cool. It was helping him hold that wave earlier, and it's going to help him clear these minions and farm and mid a lot safer later, too.
It's a very curious situation here as Bertel is very far up. He's going to Gnar as Willa moving on over. Could be a 2v2 if Cuz stays around.
No, they're not going to commit to this.
Keen just going to deal with the wave.
Trying to get the Herald.
Like we're going to have junglers backing off. Rift Herald going to be started off here. And
BDD also motioning over to that side of the map.
Really have too much control.
Yeah, no Gnar here. And look at Keen's setup right now. Almost fully charged. He's so ready for a fight. Yeah, and BDD doesn't have Weaver's Wall, but he keeps hitting these shoves.
He's hit the last 3 in a row.
Yeah.
Missed the Q, but the shoves have been fantastic.
Shoves are great. So that's Herald going over to KT, arguably more important than the solo Drake that's picked up here, the Cloud for Live Sandbox, depending on how much money they can get out of this.
Yeah, we'll have to see what kind of soul we're going to get this time around as well. Not going to be a Hex Tech or a Cloud Soul again. So we're going to have something different. Abyssal Dive going to get a skate out from aiming.
Yeah.
As well as here.
Interesting that they took the blue buff onto aiming really early on while they're waiting for the lane to shove. They couldn't push forward because Cuz was doing the Herald on the top side of the map, so they opt to take their own blue instead and deny any possible counter jungling, as well as just getting some additional ability or ability haste and mana regen onto aiming.
You're kind of alright with it, right? Like Jinx just wanting to happily scale, going to be very difficult for KT to fight the Jinx later if they can't actually get their engage to land on top of her.
Yeah, because she's got great range, and they also have... A lot of this game is going to be about the follow-up for Willer's ults. You know, he's going to set up...
But this is looking a lot similar to last game, except reversed, where Liv Sandbox are being pretty comfortable here through the early game, and KT really needs to press an advantage.
Chase this Zeri down and win against her 1v1 because I outrange her, and I'm just going to be able to kill her so quickly. And then if she gets a tempo advantage too in the game where she is up an item, for example, aiming just can't play the game. And then it becomes really frustrating.
Yeah.
But we're not at that state yet.
No, we're not. And it can actually happen the other way around as well. Like, if it gets to a point where aiming's just happy to dash forward and start shooting Envy, like, what does Envy do? Like, he has to get devoured, then they're not going to have that DPS in the fight, yada, yada, yada. There is a lot of counter snowball to be had on both sides of this one.
It looked like BDD got any gold from that.
Like, he has to get devoured, then they're not going to have that DPS in the fight, yada, yada, yada. There is a lot of counter snowball to be had on both sides of this one, as that's a big old Gnar onto Keen. He slices, dices, avoids the house, and he's going to be able to walk it off.
Yeah, so ult and flash, he's fine.
Don't think we're going to be able to chase down.
Keen is doing really well, considering he's been ganked multiple times, or had the threat of being ganked multiple times topside.
A little bit nervous about actually committing all the way to that, with Closer, of course, having flash and Emperor's Divide. So that Rift Herald, you know, I said it was probably going to be more valuable than the Drake. Not really, with Cuz picking up all of the money.
Yeah.
Another shove?
Ooh, not going to find that shove. Now Willer is moving over. Cuz in position to help out his mid laner, so should be okay. Good vision around this area for Liv Sandbox, as Keen is just trying to zone here towards his top side, being frustrating. 30 CS.
Yeah, it's massive, and he's just keeping the wave in an annoying spot here. Then clearing it and pushing through as soon as he knows where Willer is.
Yeah. All right, Willer feeling the pressure now. You can feel it, right?
Where's Aurelion Soul? Yeah, it really hasn't been a priority in LCK. I think it's just so garbage early, and people are playing all these early game junglers. The popularity of Vi and Lee Sin, now we have Viego coming up again as well.
KT are just happy to farm. And they've got a Wukong with Flash Cyclone,
Elise
so
makes it really difficult to not die mid lane.
Jinx up 100-0 her, and then the Zeri's online, and you get a dragon. So finally going to start this off. And
it's very challenging to stay alive on that champion.
The mid and bot prio here, like a lot of the reasons why this is possible is because of that. But Cuz has to be respected.
He does. 50% health on this Dragon. Extendo Beam comes in. Kyle down to 50% as the Glacial Prison lands, but it's onto Lahens. He's happy to tank it up. Kyle eats the great health. They do manage to take down the Dragon, but First Blood goes over to KT, and now aiming is skating over these walls. There's the... Oh my god, the wall is just massive.
Wow.
He's going to be able to snipe the Jinx in the end. A double kill somehow. Skating over...
Wow. Well, I didn't expect this, guys.
Possible is because of that, but Cuz has to be respected.
This is pretty crazy. They actually just sack the wave into the turret and try and turn this around. Aiming just pops over the wall because he's got the cover of the polymorph from Lulu. Sejuani ult hits Lulu, but that's not too consequential because Cuz is able to go in and just get a fat ultimate off. And BDD is zoning closer on the outside. BDD is out of combat just long enough. Pops ult here. His ult is off cooldown. And aiming over to come over the wall even though he has no mana.
Oh my god, the wall is just massive. And BDD's going to be able to snipe the Jinx in the end. A double kill somehow for aiming there.
Really good engage there from KT. Man, I did not expect that.
One where they had a massive lead and they played not to lose. And in this game, so far, they have been so aggressive. And that's the kind of decisive play you want to see from BDD. You want to see from aiming. Forcing the fight.
Imira says, doing Dragon on blue side makes it so hard to retreat in positions like this. Yeah,
that's
true.
BDD picks up an additional one. He has his stopwatch online now for the next fight. And man, this was, yeah, a 2 Drake lead here for Live Sandbox, but it's Ocean Soul. So guess what? You're feeling great as KT. And this is what I was talking about with Cuz here on this Wukong. And Closer.
I love how aggressive aiming plays that, though, because he knows he has the cover of the polymorph. And Cuz is able just, I mean, the monkey in the pit with the 2 monkeys in the pit with the ult is just crazy good as well. And BDD barely gets the out of combat onto to be able to use the Weaver's Wall. Really good.
He's just so concerned about this Talia.
Damn, that was really well played by KT.
Emperor's Divide, but it doesn't save his team.
Yeah, it was a little bit more of that defensive angle. Teleport to be used towards this bottom side. As BDD is going to come through, but Envy with that Gatling gun.
I don't think a lot of teams would have opted into that fight.
With the minigun going to be able to knock down a couple of plates here on this bottom side of the map just before they fall. Certainly good news, but
yes, Leon 367 aiming also had his shield bow done. That was certainly a big advantage.
The Dragon going big for Live Sandbox. But if these fights continue to go a similar direction, it's going to be a worrying sign. So, looking for more out of Closer. And looking to see whether Envy can survive the next one instead of being trapped in the back of a pit.
Was a really cool showcasing of BDD's game sense on this Talia too. Just being super patient, waiting for his opportunity. His Closer just continually hits him so he can't Weaver's Wall, but eventually when they do collapse into the Drake pit, he has enough time where that temporary cooldown wears off. And now they have so much map control too. BDD is going to get this whole turret here while denying CS.
Yeah, and BDD also goes back, completes his Leandri's. It was just a lost chapter for damage before, as Cuz, yeah, pretty happy.
He got the fake monkey.
Glacial Prison with his clone.
Yeah, I think BDD probably still gets this turret. He's just going to let this wave push through. Remember, Cuz still has his ultimate, so you've got to be really careful now.
Yeah. This is pretty impressive play from KT. Is Envy taking a lot of damage from aiming. Flame Chompers go down. He's tanking the turret way too much here. As Wild Growth
he's fine. He's got Wild Growth.
Ulti used, so he's able to clear up this wave very quickly. Is now Cuz just looking for the opportunity. Kyle holds on to the Devour.
Ooh, nice shove.
He's just going to be murdered. That was beautifully played. Around the Tom Kench, you can see he still has the ultimate, but he's
nice shove coming in off of the Wukong R. It's not like it's mechanically impressive, guys. It's just the game sense to pull that play off is very good.
It's Heri's secret stuff.
Yeah,
obviously easy to hit the shove when they're knocked up.
Straight up, like KT playing like T1 with a small lead and just trying to force.
Yeah, KT looks sharp in this game.
Took some extra turret shots, being too aggressive, but they still turned it around. BDD gets in there, they get an additional kill, they get the whole mid turret. And I was talking about how BDD probably could have gotten that bottom turret. He hasn't gotten it yet, but I mean, it's just barely hanging on by a thread. He can essentially get it whenever he wants to here. And they're just constantly forcing the issue. Birdall is so far behind, he can do nothing. He doesn't have a mythic yet.
Yeah, Birdall's been a turd doll this game, this series.
I do want to go back to what
and
you
also
said,
in general.
Because a lot of what we praise T1 for is intelligent aggression, like being aggressive and forcing a response out of your opposition and then having a plan for what's going to happen afterwards. And you can see here in this replay, KT already have Cuz moving into position to guarantee the punish, and they were trying to get Devour. They don't get it, and they're like, just kill Tom Kench. He can't Devour himself.
Exactly. BDD is over here. He's got the shove. And Envy survives, but that's a whole turret and a kill here. And what are you getting cross-map? Little bit of farm, just barely anything as Birdall here. And he still doesn't have a mythic.
Yeah.
He backed, I thought. Maybe he didn't actually complete the back, just stayed here to catch this wave, because he's got to have enough money for it at this point.
Well, Rift Herald going to come down here towards his top side. BDD and Cuz looking to try and knock this one down if they can. Going to be difficult with Closer there. He's got his Leandries completed, does have a lot of wave clear at his disposal.
At Trinity Force, low as you just mentioned, and they're going to be able to get the Drake here. So, yeah, you stopped them on the last Drake, but they won the fight so hard and got so much map control, they should be able to get subsequent ones. And this is really concerning. Now, the game is not over by any means here. Live Sandbox, even 4,000 gold behind, can win a team fight. They can get Jinx excited. They can get a single pick. But it's really hard to do so without map control. So they need to play very carefully around vision. So many ways that this goes wrong for Live Sandbox, too, with BDD shove, Weaver's wall.
And if you give Zeri an inch, she can certainly take a mile. Aiming has also proven that he's very good at the pick, as well as Keen just going to walk away from Birdle here. The Drake is going to be secured, and Envy at least manages to get a red buff out of all of this. This time, I have some
tons of free save when that Baron is started up. But man, the Ocean Drake also...
it's hard now. Live Sandbox certainly can still scale. They still have good win conditions, but the 5k gold deficit's pretty massive.
Yeah, look at that shield for aiming that he's picked up here.
Oh, man.
The buffs to overheal may have been... There may have been a bit much. You may have to take a look at that, you know?
I remember when it was nerfed, and now it's just sort of back, and I'm like, but guys, we nerfed this for a reason.
Yeah.
But still, also, it's combined with the power of second item Bloodthirster as well. It really does make things very difficult.
Well, Hence also has a shield, so Envy's just using his long-range attack, and he's like, oh, I just want to hurt his health bar.
Yeah.
But I guess I can't.
But he was 4th item sustained.
Be up in the front to do that R, but even in team fights, he can close the gap on these carries so much faster.
Yeah, they're realizing that they also need like a lot of engage to get the double engage to work. As aiming takes a lot of damage here from these rockets. A lot of pings do come through as KT just hovering towards his top side. Okay, let's see whether Cuz is going to survive this one. Does manage to worry a Trickster. Gets himself out of the way. And BDD with these rocks, man.
Yeah,
it's difficult to be able to punish.
The follow-up is so hard in a
Tom Kench.
So you catch quote-unquote Cuz, but here comes BDD.
Envy just trolling again.
Comes through. Envy is going to flash towards the Tom Kench, but they're going to knock him up. Cyclone has always been
hard. You know, Envy's had some very good days, guys, but this is who Envy is. Envy is a frontline ADC player. This is how he plays the game. And so we just have to accept that Envy doesn't care that Cuz did not use his ult at all during that last engagement. They don't have Sejuani ult. And Gnar isn't there. And he's just going to walk up on this, even though he could obviously be flash polyed here because he thinks Kyle will save him and that BDD has ult to cut him off.
Yep, Weaver's wall comes through. Envy is going to flash towards the Tom Kench, but they're going to knock him up. Cyclone has always been so good into Tom Kench.
This is just who Envy is, guys. We have to accept him for who he is.
That's Baron for sure. You know, I thought we were for a moment getting close to disappointed Huni territory, especially with Cuz overextending there. But you know what?
Before 22 minutes, Wolf, I think we're okay. I think they're out of the woods.
Yeah, and we saw Closer just conceding the point. He teleports bottom to get some money over here is what he's hoping to do. He will be able to force a teleport out of Keen, but it means he won't be able to get this turret. So you're not getting any cross map here either. KT Rollster, early Baron. They already had so much map control, but now they can use this Baron to get their second Drake of the game and some additional gold here for the Zeri. BDD's finished.
Yeah, Infinity Edge Bloodthirster pretty strong. You're not going to win the frontline ADC battle when aiming has those two items. Classic. He has 600 extra HP right now. Fun item.
It's so funny because you see the mind, like see what his brain's doing. Kyle's like, if I flash Devour, I can save the Jinx. But then he flashes over a Weaver's wall, devours, and he's like, ah, crap. Like, what now?
Yeah, it's like,
all right, this game's over.
For a Tom Kench,
you almost exit.
I'm not sure I'm more impressed by KT in this series.
Back online for BDD, it gets even worse.
It does. And I got a question.
They had a clear draft diff in game one. I do admire their decisiveness in this game. Knowing that they could win that dragon fight was pretty good, I gotta say. But I still don't think KT is amazing for winning this series. Live Sandbox also was pretty bad.
Crazy. I'm not ready, right? As an old man. Same things.
That's he gets, but nothing. He's sitting. Oh.
What Huni was definitely a KT with a lot more gusto in this push.
They were able to get the Drake too. This game ever.
Yeah, just lead. Man, imagine if KT had taken a 20-minute Baron in the last game.
Are we going to have an MSI Garage Couch Stream Marathon again? Maybe.
Fight, you know,
yeah.
Oh
dear. So
that could be in the cards.
Oh, look at that. That looked like a saltwater crocodile launching out of the river, you know?
Yeah.
Terrifying. As, yeah, Bertel, not a lot of hope there, but also...
How do you measure which matches were bangers? Following all the best teams, talking to people,
really
looking at results and seeing if they're interesting.
Gen G Series 2 at pushing advantages. Game 1 we were a little bit.
I mean, this is a you know, two playoff teams with the same record in LCK going against each other. That's pretty good measure of what a banger is. Also, I know that the OMG JDG match was a banger from talking to people.
We're being aggressive early, no matter what.
He's just choosing violence every time. Speaking of which, Cuz dives on in. Kyle, once again, just going to get obliterated. BDD chasing after the Sejuani. And Liv Sandbox to just, there's no time for them to even
so many shields. Now the Seraphs is complete onto BDD as well. So many shields.
This week, Atlas, this is not the look that we expected after what was such a great start to round 2.
Certainly not. Dominus going to come forward here, but Closer cannot push the Crocodile through the Nexus. And these Nexus turrets are going to go down a 27.
Dominant. Good win by KT.
We actually play aggressive games.
All right.